Did you know that Louisville, Kentucky has one of the largest school districts in the nation? I'm Lindsay Vallandingham with the Symphony group at Keller Williams Louisville East. I'm a real estate agent and I'm a parent. I'm a parent of children in the public school system here in Louisville, Kentucky. And so today I am coming to you with firsthand experience of what it's like to be a parent in Louisville, Kentucky. The Symphony Group, as a residential real estate company, serves the entire Louisville metro area, including parts of southern Indiana. So we're talking about several different school districts here. But I know that this school district is unique because I've lived in other parts of the country. And when I moved to Louisville, I was like, what the what? What is even happening with the school district? It's very unique. It's unlike most that you will find around the country. So I thought I would take a few minutes here to kind of dive into what our school district looks like in Louisville. So here's the scoop. First of all, Louisville and Jefferson County have a merged metro government. That's something that's fairly unique in the United States, but it also means that we have this gigantic county city government and it's all sort of merged together. And that includes our school district here in Louisville. So throughout Jefferson County Public Schools and Louisville Public Schools are in fact the same entity. It is what makes us one of the largest school districts in the country because the entire city is served by one single school district. Now, of course, there are more rural options around Louisville, the surrounding counties, and southern Indiana, where the school districts are a lot smaller. They're all still county-based school districts. For example, you would move in Shelby County and go to Shelby County Schools in Kentucky, or you would move to Bullitt County and go to Bullitt County Schools in Kentucky. And even if you cross the river in Indiana, if you move to New Albany, you might go to New Albany City Schools, or you could go to Floyd County Schools. There are county schools throughout our entire region here. But Jefferson County Public Schools is a beast. It's a big organization. As a parent, here are some of the things that I've learned. First off, there are 13 clusters to the Jefferson County Public School system. The clusters don't necessarily make sense. They aren't necessarily based on where your neighborhood is. As you can see, it's a giant map that shows the whole city in all these different colors. What does this look like? What does this mean? Well, first and foremost, you can choose from schools that are based in your cluster, or you can choose to send your student to a magnet school program that might exist outside of your cluster. At the moment, Jefferson County doesn't provide busing to schools that are outside of your cluster, so that's something to keep in mind. If you have a student that's looking into the magnet program for fine arts or technology, the obligation to get them to school is on the parents right now. So that's something to keep in mind when you're choosing where you're going to live. But for the vast majority of residents, they're choosing a school from within their cluster. So you don't necessarily have to choose a home that is right next door to your school. And as you can see in some of these clusters, there are clusters that are both west and east sides of the city. So as long as you live in that teal green cluster, you can visit any of those schools. You can attend any of those schools regardless of where you live within that cluster. Jefferson County Schools provides a great website where you can search the address. So as you're searching for homes, or you're looking on Zillow, or you're looking on our symphony.kw.com website for your new home, you can take an address and put it into the JCPS School Finder website, and that will tell you, here are the list of schools that fall within the cluster where that address resides. That's a very helpful tool. But this cluster program is complicated and it's confusing for new parents. New to the area, or you have young children who haven't been to school before, it's a beast. And JCPS does a great job of welcoming you, integrating you, and helping you figure out their program and how to fit into it best for you. They have programs throughout the year that help you learn about the magnet programs, about the cluster programs, about the different schools, and help you decide where you want to live and how you want to get your kid to school. For a lot of folks, the idea of the clusters is very unique. Again, there are 13 of them here in Jefferson County, and there will be a list of elementary schools, a list of middle schools, and a list of high schools that your child would attend living in that cluster. As a new parent in the JCPS program, you are going to identify maybe your top 3 schools within your cluster that you would prefer your child attend. So you might say, number one is X, number two is Y, and number three is Z, and then that gets sent off to the school program, and they build the list of attendees based on their openings and what they have available. There is absolutely busing provided within those clusters to lots of different schools, but that's something that you definitely want to pay attention to as you're choosing what's best for your child. If you are not going to be the person who's able to drive them to school, you would definitely want to make a choice based on where busing is provided. If you elect ultimately to work with Symphony Group, we are going to help you navigate this process. We are parents as agents ourselves. We have navigated this process ourselves. Like I said, I am a Jefferson County Public Schools parent. All three of our boys have attended Jefferson County Public Schools. We've been through elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, and we've done all of that. And so we're here to be a resource to you because it is a lot to take on, and there's always going to be questions. And I will definitely advise you that Jefferson County Public Schools online presence is excellent, and they can answer a lot of questions there too. As far as living outside of Jefferson County, every single one of these school districts is excellent. You can't make a bad choice, and actually this area of the state is known for really excellent schools. It's just that JCPS in and of itself is a little complicated to navigate. And I think that a lot of people, especially coming from the outside or having your first child enter into this program, people have questions. And how does it affect where I live? So I'll tell you from my own personal experience. We have three boys. The oldest is now in college, but we still have two JCPS students. And we have navigated through this JCPS program for years. We are huge advocates of public schools. We believe in Jefferson County Public Schools and have wanted our children to take part in the public school system here. But it has not come without its challenges. We lived in a home initially that was outside of the cluster of where we wanted our kids to go to school. So we moved into the cluster where we wanted them to go to the school. And ultimately, we elected a magnet school program. As I mentioned, there are magnet school programs on Jefferson County Public Schools website that you can go and explore for your child, and they range for all kinds of different types of magnet programs. We chose the traditional magnet program for our boys. That is a process that requires application, a lottery, not necessarily get in on the first try. And in fact, our middle son, Benjamin, didn't get into the magnet school of our choosing for his kindergarten year. He ended up going to a local school, and then we reapplied and got him in for kindergarten. But what that magnet school program means in Jefferson County right now is that there isn't busing provided for our students. So, me as a mom, my job is every morning I am taking boys out very early. I mean, I think we leave our house at like 6:20 in the morning, and we take Benjamin to school, and it takes about 20 minutes from our house to drive there. We go through the car rider line, he goes in, and then I take my younger son to his elementary school. Both of those schools are magnet program schools, and so both of them don't allow us to have any busing. So in order to keep myself from having to drive out to the middle school, drive back, pick up my elementary school kid, then drive him to school, like that would just take forever. So I take both boys, take one to middle school. The elementary school doesn't start for another hour. So I actually have my son enrolled in a YMCA program at his school that begins an hour before school starts, just for the ease of not having to go so many times back and forth. These schools are not necessarily close to our home. This is a 20-minute drive to each school. There's 20 minutes between the two of them. This process takes, I don't know, like 75 minutes every morning for me to drop them off at school. But that YMCA program is a savior for us because it allows my son, my youngest, time to work on his homework in the morning, play with his friends, have breakfast, all that kind of stuff. He actually loves going there. And it's a lifesaver for me because I don't know that I would have the ability to get everybody where they need to go. But this is a decision we have made because we want our boys to be in these specific schools. I don't know that that will continue for us for high school. We may elect to move back into our cluster and have the boys attend a school within our cluster so that we can get busing back. These are the types of decisions that parents are making in Jefferson County because we have some options available to us and not others. There's a huge breadth of options as far as types of education, what's available out there, and it's a lot to take in. It's a study in and of itself. You want to study exactly what you want for your student and make the best housing choice you can make based on what you're looking for them. knowing that Jefferson County can change things. Clusters have moved around, things have changed over time. We have to remain a little bit flexible, but ultimately, the idea that you would live within a cluster rather than one very small specific school district means that even if things change a little bit, you still can navigate a neighborhood or be within a range of schools that will still work for your child. It's just very unique and very different, certainly from the environment I grew up in, which was just this was the neighborhood and everybody went to one of a couple elementary schools and then the same junior high, and the whole town went to the same high school. And that's the area of town that I grew up in, or the state that I grew up in. That's what was common. That's what was common for my parents and my grandparents. And I think there's still a lot of school districts around the country that operate that way, where everyone is essentially funneled into one or two high schools in the area. And Jefferson County just isn't like that. We have lots and lots of high schools. I think there are something like 94 schools now in Jefferson County Public Schools between elementary, middle, and high schools. And kids, no, it's more than that. There's like 94 elementary schools alone that parents can choose from in Jefferson County. And then those kids are funneled into a huge number of middle schools, a huge number of high schools. So it's a big choice. And where you live is such a big part of that. Where you decide to live and grow your family, ultimately for everyone, weighs on their school decision. So before you get married to an address, become very close with that school finder website. Start the process of when you see a house you like, plug that address into that school finder website, find out what that cluster looks like. And when you start to maybe see the same schools over and over, do some research into these schools, find out what's going on there, find out who the teachers are, ask around for references from the schools, from parents that have been there. We would recommend our school wholeheartedly to anyone who asked, and I'm sure that there are other parents at other schools that would say the same or that would give you a cautionary tale. And so you want to do your research before you purchase a home in Jefferson County, Kentucky, if you are planning to take part in the Jefferson County Public Schools. For help with this process, for guidance, or to talk about purchasing a home in the greater Louisville area, whether you're all in and you want to live in the city, in the big school district, or you'd prefer a slower pace of life in our suburbs, please reach out to us at symphonyrealtygroup@gmail.com, and we will be happy to help you find your perfect team.